Everyone loves talking. But you know what people love more? People love to be listened to. I've wanted to share some stories from my social life that are a bit embarrassing, but also really funny for a long time now. Now I feel more comfortable to share it. So in high school, I was definitely the outlier. Maybe we all feel like the outlier, but I definitely wasn't like the normal, typical, stereotypical high school kid who knew like the social scene. The reason for that was when I would be with my friend group, someone would ask a question, another person would respond, and then the conversation would move on. And as the conversation was going and moving on, I was still in my head, like thinking for a response. And in that time of just being in my head thinking of a response, the conversation was already somewhere else. And by the time I gave my answer, it like was kind of out of place. I have the perfect story that brings this issue that we all have to life. Once upon a time, there was a monk and a master walking along the river in China. And as you might know, monks are known to be celibate, and they live in temples, and they meditate, and they're very disciplined with their practice. So one day, as this monk and master were walking along the river, they saw a woman on the other side who was stuck, and she was very beautiful, but she couldn't get across the river. She had a little bag of food that she had made for her grandmother, and she needed to get across the river, but she just couldn't. And the master, being very kind and compassionate, crossed the river, got her on his back, and took her across the river. And she thanked him and went on her way. The master and monk continued to walk. The master was enjoying the scenery and just very happy, as he always was, when the monk said, "Master, you're not supposed to be carrying women. We're monks. We're not supposed to be around women and touch women." And the master looked at the monk and replied, "I carried her across the river to help her get that food to her grandmother. You've been carrying her all this time in your mind. You're still holding on to that thought, to that idea, to that moment. I'm here right now. I'm chilling with you." And so that was kind of like my problem. We would be having a conversation, and I would be carrying that woman or the thought or that moment from the past part of the conversation, and I would have been lost when it came to the present moment in the conversation. So what's different now? I've come a long way. I'm a different person, and I've discovered a few things along the way. I found that the solution to all this social anxiety and awkwardness was simply presence. Presence, that's all. Just paying attention to what the person in front of me is saying and holding back from giving feedback, giving an answer, trying to fix the person's problem, trying to be funny, trying to fill all the silences in the conversation. I've learned to take a different approach to being social. I just sit back, watch, and enjoy. I just stop trying. That might sound really counterintuitive. Don't you want to try to be your best? Don't you want to try to impress and make everyone happy? Well, if you're trying to impress, if you're trying to be entertaining and make everyone happy and laugh and seem smart, then all that energy is going into trying to do that. Instead of trying to be something, try to listen and try to be present for the other person, because you'd want the same for yourself, right? Everyone loves talking, but you know what people love more? People love to be listened to. You're not the smartest person in the room if you're talking all the time. You're the smartest person in the room if you're listening. Why? Because if you're talking all the time, you can't learn shit. But if you're listening, you can take in information. It's called feedback. You can absorb that, become a smarter person. I'm telling you, this concept has changed my life. I got it tattooed on my arm. Listen. Listening is so powerful. We love listening to music. We love listening to television and TV. But how come we have a hard time listening to our friend, to our boyfriend, to our girlfriend, to our mom, to our grandma, to our dad, to our sister, to our brother? Why is there this impulse to respond and talk over them, to say something? Why is it so hard for some of us to listen? The proof that listening is so valuable is in the pudding. Some of the most successful people are where they are because they listen. Steve Jobs listened. Maybe it wasn't to a person, but he listened to society, he listened to the culture, he listened to the majority of people, and he listened to what they wanted. While all these other companies were making products that they thought were cool, that they wanted to make, Steve Jobs listened to the individual. What does the individual want? At the time, individuals loved music, movies, and photography. He listened to the culture, he listened to his audience, and he responded with a thoughtful answer, which was the iPhone. And it was a mega success. Another great example of someone who listens is Kanye West. He rants a lot, but he listens. He listens to the people who are expressing pain, who feel outcasted, who feel like they're the outliers, like they're being judged, that like they're not normal. He listens to all the pain these people have, his fans. And then he responds, he answers with music that resonates with them, with their heart, that makes them feel less alone. That's powerful. If you took anything away from this, if you can take anything away from this, regardless of everything else I just said, remember the word listen and bring that up into your awareness next time you are in a conversation with your friend. Try to ask them a very good question and then listen to their response without interrupting them and see how it goes. The more you can be present, give your presence to that person, your undivided attention, listen to them, the deeper the connection is going to become. And they'll listen to you with that same respect that you listen to them with. To end this video, I'd love to share a song with you that I'm working on, if you'll be so kind as to listen. This song is called River Walls. I wrote this song because I was inspired to remind myself to keep my heart open. For me, when I close my heart, it feels like I put walls up to my family and loved ones and friends, and that makes me feel lonely. So this song is about those walls breaking apart and learning to be vulnerable with the people that matter most to me in my life. Find a river, build a dam, walk away. Come on back there a year from today. What you'll find is it's flown away. Love cannot be held at bay. That's what happens when you close your heart. River walls, they fall apart. That's what happens when you close your heart. River walls, they fall apart. Loving kindness, bringing light, sharing and bring sunlight. I have told you once or twice, bring the love, bring the light. That's what happens when you open your heart. Life starts looking more like art. That's what happens when you open your heart. Everything feels like art. I'm still working on it. It's coming together. Thank you for listening. And have a great, great day or night. I love you. Peace.
Sita lanjurdo lago dunia jango mukana dulila wait ang alola kerong benga sede ako nyimu alola daridi iwala da dunia ko nyimu alola keridi